Little sloppy there, letting that Adept get hit by the Queen. Does delay her regenerating her shields as well, but he's going to shade in more and keep on threatening. hero wants more damage. Serral has a third base going down, and these Adepts going to try and shade off creep, but that one Adept is getting very low.
Yeah, unfortunately is the one that's on the forefront. The Queen is absolutely target firing that. The Adept's going to safely shade out. If they don't have to, they might not, but actually they are. Now one of them gets surrounded, actually. That was the weak one. The Ling's not going to chase, of course, to Adept. Still a bit scary. More continuing to be built, by the way. Twilight Council on the way behind this as well. It's certainly going to be a different start. No doubt about that, the PvZ, where Serral really does have to consistently worry about so many Adepts very, very early on. Speed is finished. The Adepts are not going to complete that shade, but of course, with that Twilight Council, this is certainly what we were expecting. Resident Glaives.
Dead even on the workers between them. Glaives coming up behind it, as well as extra gateways. It's going to be hard for Serral to figure out when can I squeeze in a Roach Horn. Serral is massing Zerglings. What he really wants is to surround these Adepts and take them down before they mass up in number and get to Glaives. If he can't do that, the Adepts are going to massively outscale him once that upgrade kicks in. Yeah. Very good warp in to defend the gateway on the left side. hero, though, I worry, because if there's this many Lings, they're going to probe both his wall-off and the proxy, and we know how hero likes to hit that select all army button.
Yeah, such a tough decision, though, for Serral, right? As he does get a wraparound on two Adepts. Looks like both of them barely survive. As to whether or not to use those Lings to go across the map. They're going to try and take down the gateway, but of course that's not going to happen as the Adepts come back to save that. They are seconds away from having that Resident Glaives finish up. Serral does have a Roach Horn on the way, but he's also trying to fit in drones, right? Because he can't just let himself stay below 30 drones for the rest of this game and say that's okay. So does he actually have enough with the current amount of depth? 8 seconds to that upgrade for them. That is a decent amount of Lings, but they got to make sure that they get some type of surround if they are going to combat them.
And just going for the Forge, the Robo, the extra gases. I love this follow-up for hero. He says force an overreaction and transition. That is the name of hero's PvZ. It's all about threatening, getting in the Zerg's face, making them panic, and then going to the next step. He takes a lead here, a big one. 8 workers is nothing to scoff at. And he's also adding more and more Adept warp-ins in. No third Nexus down just yet, but there we go. Does start up. Unfortunate timing, though. Serral gets an insta-cancel.
Yeah. Serral is trying to basically identify how this is actually going to go, saying, I don't actually think that you're going to actually pull the trigger, so I'm going to send something across the map. Make sure you don't get too far ahead, but then you can never really doubt whether these Adepts are going to go or not, especially if they do find a particularly good position up against the wall in that mineral line. They're constantly threatening it. They're going to go for it, actually. Finally finishing that shade, taking out most of the Lings. Only 2 Roaches and Ravagers left over to deal with this. That just looks like way too much protoss in the main base, and they're going to shade left and right as well. It's going to be about 5 or 6 Adepts left as the Queens try to body block too, and perhaps Serral will go ahead and mitigate the damage done to his economy.
But so many Zerglings went down, as did a Queen. The Adepts are still keeping him occupied there, but no third base behind it. Hero sacrificed a lot of army here, but up a lot of workers. Serral starting to drone now as he finally cleans it up. 45 workers for hero, 36 for Serral. Serral has the third hatchery. Hero does not have a third Nexus, but Hero has a massive tech advantage. +1 attack. An Immortal's out, a Warp Prism's there. He's adding a Dark Shrine behind this as well. So Hero's going to be coming out with more dynamic pressure using that Warp Prism. Serral is droning quite hard, getting close to 60 workers. I think, though, having denied that third base so many times, he's going to have to realize, I'm not sure if he has yet, that Hero is going to be highly, aggressive, most likely, in the follow-up. You don't want to drone too hard here, as the army supply advantage is not that big. DT gets dropped in the main. He's still threatening the Adepts. The Adepts shade in more as a distraction than anything else. DT walks into the natural, but Serral is on point.
Yeah, it's like he saw this exact attempt coming, honestly. Again, they could just be used to further embolden the harassment as opposed to trying to get that sneaky sneak in. But right now, that is what Hero's trying to do. Get every little bit of drone kill and still control his units just perfectly. It's not really adding up too much more. It looks like Serral has navigated the troublesome waters that was the early game, and by striking back a little bit here and there with those Ling run-bys, has gotten himself into, obviously a playable position. As the game does continue on, Hero moves on to a robotic space. Serral starting his upgrades. Centrifugal hooks on the way. Nice use of Contaminate on that +2, which is extremely fast, by the way. That's actually already near completion.
That's very good. The Hive being there is what's very problematic for Hero right now. The Vipers can come out with that, and they counter this composition in a big way. The ability to abduct Colossus, eventually Disruptors that might be added in as well. It's very effective. There's not a lot of sentries as well, only 2 of them. So force fields are only going to be a very small stopgap in keeping you alive. And oof, losing a couple of Stalkers there. Nice pickoffs for Serral, who has a very scary army. Hasn't morphed any Banes yet, so it is just Roach Ravager Zergling, other than a couple on the left side. I'm not sure if Bane speed is done yet.
Well, we don't have the Banelings checked. I think it did. There they are. Roly-poly-oly, and in there. The probes were pulled a little bit too late. 14 of them go down. Something should take care of these guys. I think they're going to hit a Colossus. How about that? And then we do still have Serral looking for pressure on the right side, but there is now the entirety of herO's army, which isn't actually all that large right now, right? But Serral also going for a lot of technology, has not maxed out, so in these supplies, protoss can still do a lot. Army supplies even. The army composition quality of the protoss very high, especially with those upgrades. Serral still has to be concerned and has to be buying some time for these Vipers to really feel comfortable.
herO's not probing up at all. hero feels like he's taking a lot of damage and he wants to just counterattack. 5 Immortals, 4 Colossus. That is a lot of firepower in that army. But Serral has made 36 Banelings. Oh my lord, the Banelings coming in. He actually does pull back from the force fields. The Colossus breaks through them. There's no force fields left, and you can see hero pre-spreading his units just a little bit there. He knows that these Banelings are going to be very fearsome when they come in. Vipers are gathering energy right now. Serral's waiting for some abducts.
Yeah, exactly. He if he could pop on that on a very efficient trade on the Stalkers, he would have, but the force field told him to back away. Wait for the Vipers. Now he's going to pull the trigger. The Banelings colliding with everything. More on the way as well. The Vipers get pulled, but then pulled back by the Warp Prism. hero displaying some excellent micro, but does he have enough to actually hold? There we go. Micro each individual Colossus like an immortal. It is going to work. The last few units of Serral are running thin. He did just kill more probes, but hero was already all in anyways. The Warp Prism is still barely alive. It actually saves another Colossus and another Colossus.
This is absolutely insane. That is the most disgusting micro I have ever seen, Zombie Grub. I could not believe it. Literally, my brain malfunctioned when I saw those Colossus get abducted and then disappear. I went, where'd it go? It took me like 3 seconds for my brain to actually process what I just saw. But despite that, Serral is rebuilding units very quickly. This is still a ramshackle force for hero. Serral gathering up his forces for one more attempt. If he gets rid of this army, he knows he wins this game. The Warp Prism going for the save, but it misses that one.
Oh yeah, misses both of it this time. And without those Colossus, hero does not have the splash to take care of Serral's reinforcements. He did chip away at that army supply. He made it awfully close, but he couldn't get the final killing blow, and he was so dedicated to that push. Yes, he has 4 Nexus, and he has actually rebuilt his workers, so perhaps we get a second chance at a very heavy macro game between the two.
hero is the only person who goes for an attack like that looks completely all in, and then somehow gets the dust to settle behind it. It's like, yeah, let's rebuild probes, add charge, maybe build some tech units. Obviously, Serral is picking off units, even abducting Stalkers there, which in this scenario makes sense because there's no better targets, and those Vipers will regain that energy. But now hero is swapping into more of a defensive stance.
So, hero, mid-game, gateway units, attacking left and right. Serral, kind of on late game, but not the economy or the supply that he necessarily wants.
Yeah, Serral is building a supercharged army, but hero much better on the defense this time around at the Baneling run by. Blocks the one on the right, one on the left, does evacuate the probes, but a few of them will go down. But definitely crisis averted. Stalkers on the front get caught.
Oh, wow.
Oh, good recall, but he still loses 5 or 6 Stalkers.
Yeah.
That's super costly for hero.
No, that was really costly because it also opens up an opportunity for Serral to say, hey, I just took that out. You just had to completely back away. Now it is my time to strike. A 60 supply difference despite hero's excellent control in his attack earlier on. Perhaps Serral is still going to be able to max out and push him on this would-be 5th base to win this game.
And Archon's getting abducted in for that win. Serral coming back with a vengeance, and I love the killer instinct. A lot of players would have tried to rebuild their economy, but Serral said, I do not need to. I can just go Roaches, Ravagers, Banelings, Zerglings, and swarm over you. And this is just a bit too much. Hero does not have the numbers, even with battery overcharge coming in and those Stalkers blinking back. The Banelings, the Roaches, the Ravagers are going to crash forwards into this 4th base, and Hero's economy getting completely reset.
Yeah, this is not going to survive this one. 26 probes go down, and Hero will have to tap out of this game. Serral. So we'll see when they actually combat against each other what happens. Most recently playing a very, very close best of 5, as we saw in their history on the little ticker there. Very close, actually 6-6, I believe, in games.
Yeah, this could be Double Forge. Definitely something that he's known for. He does like that Double Forge style. It's not my favorite style usually, but against Serral, it's the one exception I make. Serral is such a defensive Zerg versus Protoss player normally in this sort of game that I think Double Forge can be quite fantastic. The early Robo coming down as well does make me think this might be a straight-up charge lot, Immortal Archon kind of composition. The question for me is, does he once again focus on Colossus Immortal, or is he going to be thinking about going for the Disruptor style and changing up the tech? Either way, we're going to be going to 4 base versus 4 bases, and that is very exciting. We get to see when both players are in a dead even game, who's going to be better in the mid game.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to see. Last game was just so... There's potential all over the place, really, but ultimately, herO's push not working out. Serral capitalizing now, completely even. They've both pretty much done the build they wanted to do. No unnecessary damage, no silly mistake causing them to be, you know, falling behind, have to come back. Now it's a straight up beautiful ZVP, not the turtle type, but rather some action on the map. Once those robo units are out, we're about to see if it's going to be a change-up or if it's going to be steady onto those Colossus.
Serral's also got the read. He's seen the gases on the third. He's like, hey, I might not be being offensive, but neither are you. You've been very greedy as well, and immediately drops an infestation pit. So we are going to have a super quick hive. And think about it. Ravager Bane, great versus Stalker Sentry style comps. You add in Vipers quickly enough, and the scouting of Serral. This is what made him the most dominant player in the world for 2018. He scouted everything. He was never surprised. And yet again here, he's doing just that. On the other hand, herO's Oracles cleaning up Zerglings on the map. They are not scouting that quick hive. And as a result, he does not have the information he needs. He's got to get in there and see that hive.
Yes, and he will. Just in a second. There you go. There you have it. All right, so, I mean, if you wanted to try and move out and stop that from happening, he's kind of not lined up everything for it, right? +2, definitely not going to be done anytime soon. Extend Thermal Lens, ditto. So herO, I mean, you think you'd actually try and go like before the Vipers have soaked up energy? Because that'd be so
a sane
dangerous.
person would not zombie grab. herO is not a sane person. herO, though, is the Joker of Starcraft. He is a man who has no fear, and all he wants is to sow chaos into this world. He just wants to see the whole house burn down, and he will start potentially pushing across very soon, because there's no Templar Archives, there's no 4th base.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he moves across that map in the next 10 seconds, and he's just going to try to get there when there's not much Viper energy, and then maybe blink forward and snipe a Viper before it can abduct. If he only loses one of his 4 Colossus to the abduct, he might think, hey, that's good enough. I can go. Overseer's coming in. The army needs to start moving out right now, though. herO's taking a bit too long. Those Vipers are already on the way.
Yeah, this is really scary. I think you put it well. Sane person, maybe no, but herO thinks he can actually do this. Extended Thermal Lance, at the very least, will be done. +2 has a little ways to go. As you said, maybe hoping the Vipers won't have energy. Maybe they'll be sniped, perhaps. War Prism Micro will once again attempt to save the day. Either way, herO is going for it. Still only on 3 bases. Once again, very dedicated to this push.
The Ravagers trying to buy time with the Biles, but there's only a few of them. The Vipers are gathering energy, and they're going to have abducts. Those Colossus need to pull back. Otherwise, he will be getting abducted. The Stalker's shoving in, trying to fight when Serral's not ready. The Banelings are morphing. The Ravagers closing in, abducting one Colossus. The other Colossus are managing to walk backwards. The Stalker's blinking back. herO with some fantastic micro. He's going to try and pull backwards, but the numbers are insane. Serral's army just crashing over Protoss, and I don't know if herO can hang on.
He just made that look a bit easy. herO plummeting in supply, trying to warp something back in, but it's going to be pure Stalker against a Serral who still has an army left over, who still has an economy, has that technology as well. herO thought he could punish Serral before he was ready to go, but Serral getting those Vipers juiced up in the nick of time, making sure that Concave and Surround was ready to go, making sure no weird stasis trap suddenly ruined his plans either, and he has pretty much got this game locked up. He's just got to play pretty much the rest of the motions, make sure herO doesn't do anything insane again, and then he will be golden.
Serral is not going to make a couple of mistakes in some Zerg vs. Zerg matches trip him up. Yes, he lost to DRG yesterday. A big Ling drop sniping his hive. A 1 in 100 move. Yes, he lost to Soul today in some action-packed games. But that is where it ends. The story of Serral losing ends right there. He is now in a dominant position, adding +2 range upgrade, marauding around the map with a giant army and a giant economy advantage. Hero right now with the dregs of a Protoss force. He is going to try and hold on, but he just should not be able to. He dives on the Vipers, gets one of them, but at a big cost.
Yeah, absolutely huge cost. The Banelings roll even somewhat past the Stalkers. Try and go for the Colossus. Not going to get that final kill, but the Nexus does go down. Warp Prism is going to try and save the Colossus, but unfortunately the supplies really do tell the tale. The Micro, as always, so damn cool to watch for Hero, but it's not going to save him. Serral, as you said, Pig, he's done losing. He's going to get this 2-0.
Yeah, back in his playground, I remember watching about a 50-win streak where Serral refused to lose to a Protoss player ever in a tournament, and I think he's back in that form. He looked very much in control of this, and really it all came off classic Serral style. No tricks, just good scouting, good reactions. He had the read on his opponent, and he shut down these double Robo Colossus plays. The Roaches and the Ling still continuing to swarm. Hero will micro his heart out, of course, to the bitter end. But a bitter end indeed it is.
Yeah, there it is. GG Serral with even maybe dominating 2-0.